Hello and welcome to this week's training brought to you by John from the Web Warriors. We specialise in websites for small business. So this week we're going to be focusing on how to capture data or how to interpret the data of your website. This is really important so you can understand the health of your website. How is your website performing? Is it really meeting the goals that you expect when you first put your website up? Now, a tool that's really going to help you to do this is Google Analytics. It's a free tool that Google provides, and essentially all you have to do is copy some lines of code to put it in your website and it'll start working straight away. So what I'm going to do in this session is just give you a short overview of Google Analytics, just to show you some of the main data that you can look at to check the health of your website. So the first piece of data that I look at is the section here where you click on the home section of Google Analytics, and it shows you how many visitors you're getting and what they're doing on your website. So I'm getting this week, I'm getting about 44 users come to the website and 54 sessions. So what that means is of those 44 users, 10 of those are returning visitors. So they've each got, say, a user could have 2 sessions if they visited your website twice over a week. Bounce rate is really healthy. I suspect there's an issue with my bounce rate because it seems a little bit too low. Ideally, you want anything below, say, about 30-40%. That's quite good. What the bounce rate does is that actually tells you how many people, when they go to your website, will stay on your website versus jumping out. Now, the importance behind that value is that it sends a signal to Google, if you've got a low bounce rate, that people that are coming to your website are actually in the right place. If you have a bounce rate of, say, 80-90%, that sends a signal to Google that the people that are coming to your website are not finding what they're looking for. So it'll send them to another website, potentially a competitor. The next area that I look at is the session duration. Now, what that means is that every time a visitor or a user comes to your website, how long are they spending on your website? Now, people are spending on my website average about 2 minutes and 7 seconds, which is okay. It means to me, that means they're probably looking around, reading some information. And if you had a session duration of, say, 15-20 seconds, that would send a signal to Google that they're probably not really interested in the content once again. So they're really short sessions and they just jump out straight away. So the fact that I've got a couple of minutes there is great. The section over on the right-hand side here tells me how many users are on the site right now. Currently, there's no users looking at the site. This will actually change live. You've got a session here which tells you what time of day people are visiting your site. So heavy traffic is Saturday at 6 a.m. And then we've got some morning is a bit more heavy. Evening in general tends to be heavy. So anything after 4 p.m. tends to be heavier traffic for my website. Now, the next section we want to look at is where are your visitors coming from? Where are your users coming from to actually find your website? So the first section is the organic search. So that means that they type something into Google. They've probably potentially never ever heard of your business before. They type a question into Google. For me, it might be how to set up a blog for a small business. And then, hey presto, my website comes up in the search results. They click the title and they just jump in and start reading my blog. Probably know nothing about my business yet. So that's organic search. Direct search, that's where people are fully aware of your brand and they might be, say, coming to a business meeting and they want to jump onto your contact page and find out where your map is or what your business hours are. So they will type in the Web Warriors into Google, but Web Warriors opening hours or something similar, and they're expecting that a Web Warriors page turns up in the Google results. Referral is from some other source, such as another website. It could be social media, such as Facebook. That's a referring website which sends traffic to your site. Really great if you have other websites that mention your website. They might have a blog post. It might be a general small business blog post, and they might have a mention in there about how to build a great website, and they've got a link to our website or a blog post on that on our website. Paid search is where I'm actually paying Google for traffic, Google AdWords essentially, and then could be some other referral source or some other source that Google doesn't really have an index of what that is. Okay. Now the other one I look at is where my users are coming from. Currently, at least half my traffic is from Australia. I'd love that to be more because I specialise in Australia. However, I'm getting a fair bit from India, and we'll scroll a bit further down to find out why that is, but I know why that is, and a little bit from overseas as well. So if we scroll down to the next section down here, it tells me what are the common pages that people are visiting. And when I set up my website, put a bit more data into Google Analytics, I can give my pages a value or weight as well. So if there was a blog post which I thought that could actually convert quite well, I could actually put a dollar value on that, and I can start measuring the return on investment on my website. So what this means here is that 27 people are coming to the homepage. There's that just slash there. My next most popular page is a blog post which I wrote, which tells techie people how to set up a mail integration with your website. So that gets 24 hits. This seems to be a bit of a popular one with developers. I'm also getting a lot of, my next most common is people going to the contact page and then some of my blog posts. Okay, that tells me I need to push my blog posts more, so stay tuned for that. Ideally, some of these will be my biggest hits over a week. I also look at the how users are trending. So currently I'm averaging probably between 150 and 200 visitors per month, which is okay for where I want to be. I will be pushing that further, so once again, stay tuned. I also look at what devices people are using. So what I can see here is 90% of people are visiting my website from a desktop device, so a laptop or a desktop computer, and only 10% are visiting it from mobile. So what that tells me is that my website is optimized for desktop, so that means that all the layout and where everything is set up quite well for desktop. What it means is that if I was getting a lot of mobile traffic, say it was 90% mobile and 10% desktop, I'd actually flip the design of my site quite significantly. So it's not at that level yet where I need to do any major adjustments to my website. It's fairly optimized for mobile, but I'm not really pushing at this yet. The next section I'm looking at is the retention of users. So a user that it essentially tells me how often do people come back and revisit the site. Okay, it's very low. What that means for me is that I can retarget visitors. Okay, so that's once again some paid advertising. I've set up a goal that a contact us page is a goal. So ideally, I want people to come to my website, have a look through some of my offers that I've got, potentially some blog posts, and end up at a contact us page to booking an appointment. Okay, that's a goal that I've set up, and I've had 6 over the past week, which is okay. So I'm getting new inquiries. That's great. And the last section is the AdWords. So I've got just fluffing around literally with some Google AdWords, and I've had 2 clicks over the last week. Okay, so stay tuned for that one. So as I said, this is a really brief overview of Google Analytics. There is way more information that's available on Google Analytics, but this will tell you some high-level data about your website, how your website's performing, just some high-level health of your website. I look forward to seeing you in our next session next week. Thank you.